So I already have a video on this wonderful plant, but I feel it's just not good enough. This is an updated version with a lot of additional info. Echeveria Lola is a fabulous hybrid that came into existence by crossing Echeveria Lola and either Derenbergi or Tipi. It's an old cultivar that has been around since the 1980s. Lola is a beautiful petite succulent that will mostly stand out in pots due to its smaller size. I've grown thousands of these plants to date, and while they are mostly easy to keep, there are certain things they dislike. You don't have to be an expert to grow Lola, but it may not be suitable for a complete novice. Lola is not a huge plant and grows to about 12 cm or 5 inches in diameter. Height-wise, the rosettes can reach around 10 cm or 4 inches, though the succulent tends to grow higher if the light is insufficient. It has a clumping habit but does not produce a lot of offsets. Some plants can grow as a solitary rosette for a year or two before a chick pops out. The leaves are short and wide with a pointy tip. They are covered in a thick layer of farina. This white waxy substance acts like a sunscreen for succulents. The farina is also responsible for this amazingly attractive pastel color. During the growing season, Lola tends to be a light blue-grey, but once stressed, the leaves can have a subtle lilac hue. The very tip can turn a pinkish color when it starts getting cool. Echeveria Lola is a sun lover and will grow best in a bright sunny spot outdoors. It does tolerate outdoor shade and filtered light, but is likely to not get colorful. It can grow leggy, tall and stretched out as a result. Fungal diseases are also more likely to attack when succulents are grown in shaded and humid spots. Unfortunately, it's not suitable to be grown indoors long term and will likely eventually die unless you have plant growing lights, a sunroom or a huge sunny window. It should, however, tolerate overwintering and short stays indoors as long as it's kept in a super bright spot. Lola will stand out best in pots due to its smaller size, but can also be grown in frost-free gardens. If grown in pots, repotting every year or so will ensure a healthy plant and a higher chance of offsets. While Lola may tolerate being root bound, it can lose a few of the bottom leaves as a result. It may also not grow big if not given enough root space. If you only get light frost and no snow during winter, you can grow this succulent in the garden. To help it establish and grow better, mix any type of potting mix in with the garden soil. Echeveria roots tend to be quite thin and can find it difficult to break through hard garden soil. By cultivating and mixing in a bit of potting mix, you'll add nutrients and improve the soil structure. If you want to grow the Lola in the garden, it's best to choose a slope, raised beds or a spot where water doesn't pool after the rain. In pots, the best potting medium to use is succulent potting mix. It will have the right pH and nutrients tailored to succulent plants. As mentioned earlier, when planting in the garden, make sure to cultivate the soil. Lola may need a bit of extra attention when it comes to watering, as it is prone to fungal disease and edema. While it will tolerate quite a bit of rain, if it's wet for a few consecutive days, moving it under cover may be needed. How well the potting mix drains and the position can influence Lola's tolerance of rain. All of our nursery Lolas are grown outdoors permanently, though I do make sure their potting mix has a bit of extra perlite for super fast drainage. However, if in doubt, bring it under cover during prolonged rain. When under cover, water well once the potting mix dries up completely from previous watering. In summer, this could mean watering a few times per week and almost not at all during the cold months. If you want a pristine farina, watering the soil only will help achieve that. Lola is drought tolerant and will live for months without any water. But in my opinion, it should not be left too dry for too long, as it may start losing leaves. Temperature-wise, Lola will tolerate heat well over 40 degrees Celsius or 104 Fahrenheit, though it should be moved out of the sun once it gets this hot. If exposed to direct sun during extreme heat waves, the leaves can suffer sunburn and the plant could die, especially when planted in dark colored pots. Lola is said to be frost tolerant to about -3, but is not likely to survive when frost settles for too long or when it snows. Frost cloth can be used to protect your succulents from the occasional frost, but if your climate gets snow, I'd advise to bring this plant indoors for the duration. Lola can be propagated from seed, leaf and cuttings of offsets. Seed propagation is, in my opinion, not worth trying, as it can take too long and it can be hard to find a reliable seed seller. For fast results, propagating cuttings of offsets is the best method. As mentioned earlier, Lola doesn't usually grow lots of offsets. You can, however, force new growth by topping or beheading. Whichever way you get your cuttings, they should be left to dry for about 24 hours before planting. Once the wound is dry, cuttings can then be planted into pots filled with succulent potting mix and transplanted into the garden or a bigger pot once enough roots develop. First roots should start growing in 2 to 4 weeks and the plant will be ready to transplant in approximately 2 to 3 months. If you're after lots of Lolas, propagating leaves is the best method. The leaves separate quite easily and have a decent success rate. Start at the bottom, and if it's too hard to get the leaves, take the plant out of the pot. After separating a few, leave the leaves in a tray in a bright but shaded spot and wait for leaf babies to emerge. Once you get new growth, plant the leaves in a tray or pots filled with succulent potting mix and wait a few months until the roots have grown well into the pot. On my original Lola video, someone commented that Lolas are notoriously hard to propagate from leaves. I've not found this to be the case and have never had issues, but if you did, do let us know in the comments. Anyway, in my experience, propagating is best done in spring. Summer is usually also good, but do be careful to protect your cuttings and leaves from strong sun as they burn easily. In climates where autumn and winter are mild, you can also propagate cuttings at the beginning of autumn. Personally, I stop propagating leaves by early to mid-summer, so the plant has a chance to develop before winter. Lola can be pretty susceptible to all the succulent pests. Aphids can appear in great numbers when flower stalks start growing and will not only feed off the inflorescence but can spill down onto the leaves. Mealybugs are no strangers to this plant either and can attack above and below ground. Root mealybugs usually settle on root-bound plants. This is why checking on the health of the roots can be important. Bigger pests such as snails, slugs, caterpillars and grasshoppers can pose a threat too. If larger chunks go missing, one of them is likely to be the culprit. The blooms grow above the rosette and form an arch. Each arch has about 10 individual pink and orange flowers. Here in Australia, Lola flowers at the end of winter and throughout early spring, but this can be different in other parts of the world. All Echeveria are said to be non-toxic to dogs, cats, other pets, livestock and humans. Having said that, I would not advise chopping it up into a salad just in case. And that is it for today. I hope this video was useful, and if you have anything to add or would like to ask a question, you can do so in the comments below. To learn more about succulents, hit the subscribe button or go to succulentgrowingtips.com. Thank you very much for watching.